Hi there, all you lovely people. My name is Catherine and I would like to welcome you to my new FlossTube channel, Craftie Stitches. Now I know there are lots and lots of FlossTube channels out there already, so why would I even think of adding a new one? Sorry, early visitor to the game, I do apologise, but if anybody ever watches this, what will become a common theme, this is Sasha by the way, is that I will probably be visited by a member of my extended family on numerous occasions, because I have 5 cats. I know that is not going to be the theme of this channel, but it's just going to be that we'll be visited regularly by one, or one member of them, or maybe 2 or 3 or 5 of them at one point. But anyway, I'm rambling now and they're fighting already, so moving on. My name is Catherine. As you may have guessed by my accent, I come from England. I live in Northwest, in North Manchester. I've lived in this area for the last 15 years. It's just me and the 5 cats. But the reason, to get back on point, the reason why I've decided to do FlossTube is that I want to meet more people in this community. I want to communicate with people in this community. I want to be held accountable for my stitching, because I have a nasty habit of starting something and then maybe a year or so down the line, after having spent a lot of money on the hobby, drifting off. So I figured this would be one way for me to be held accountable for that, but also to meet other like-minded people, be it virtually or eventually, hopefully, physically, who also enjoy doing cross stitch. So some things about me, I just have a list of things here I can run through for you. First, my name, which I've already covered, Catherine. So how I came up with the FlossTube name, well, Cat is a nickname for myself. V, that's my initial, but also rather bizarrely, and I would love to say I thought of this while I was coming up with the channel name, but this is just a happy accident. But V obviously as a Roman numeral is 5, so Cat V, Cat 5, 5 cats. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous, but it made me giggle for about 2 minutes. So Craftie Stitches, where I live, already done. How I got into cross stitch. Okay, so I am not an artistic person. I can appreciate art and I can certainly appreciate that talent in other people, but for me, stick figures is a massive struggle. I am terrible at art. However, I do like crafty things, so long as it's when I say I like crafty things, you know, like doing beading or cross stitch or assembling things, you know, following the instructions, so long as I don't have to go off piste and think of it up myself, I really enjoy that kind of thing. So a year ago, as we all know, this pandemic hit us all, and I was working at the time and I was sent to work from home initially, and then a couple of weeks in I got put on furlough, which basically meant that I had part of my salary paid and I just sat at home going insane. So first of all, I started doing jigsaw puzzles and obsessively watching YouTube. Now, previous to this, if you just take a quick step back, I had actually done another crafty type thing in which I was making jewellery. This necklace, for example, this is one of the things I made. There's this lovely woman called Bronzepony on YouTube who does all this kind of beaded jewellery. So for about 1.5 years, I was just obsessively making jewellery. So I made a ton of bracelets, I'm not wearing any at the moment, but a ton of bracelets and necklaces that I gave away to friends and family, and I really enjoyed doing that. but I kind of burnt out on it because I would do it obsessively. And also I run out of space to store it all and run out of friends I could give it to be quite frank for you. And I was never doing it to sell or anything like that. It was more a case of a fairly stressful job. So I'd come home in the evening and to de-stress I would make jewellery. So for when the pandemic started and I was at home, I didn't really want to do jewellery making, so I started doing jigsaws and basically did that for a while and really enjoyed that. But then the YouTube algorithm god decided to throw into my rotation this thing called diamond painting, and specifically the wonderful Rachel Ray. So it wasn't really cross stitching at that point I was looking at, it was more the diamond painting side of things. So I took the plunge and bought a couple of diamond paintings and enjoyed that. But then I started watching more and more of Rachel Ray, and then eventually kind of went through her whole back catalogue, and then eventually got to her FlossTube elements where she was doing cross stitch. Now, I wasn't necessarily thinking of ever getting into cross stitch at that time, and initially when I was watching it I was like, nah, yeah, I'm enjoying watching it, but it's not something I'm ever going to want to do. I mean, I have a sewing machine that I bought from IKEA about 12 years ago that's maybe been used twice in its lifespan, so I'm not really a sewer. But as I started watching it more and more, YouTube again, started introducing more and more people into my feed, and people like Bendy Stitchy, Erin to Martini Stitcher, Julie from Kansas City Girl, Colorado World, Stitch from Stash, Joyful Stitcher, all of these people started to come into my feed, and I was thinking, do you know what, I think I might take the plunge. So I did. In fact, I've got my very first thing here. I've not yet I've not yet FFO'd it, you know, fully finished object yet, but I probably will eventually, because it's, you know, it's my first thing that I've ever done. But it's a Lindy Stitchy freebie called Little Urn of Horrors. There you go, I hope that's showing okay. And I just love doing it, and it was a really easy one to do for a beginner because it's just, you know, a lot of block stitch, colour blocking, and it's an easy to follow pattern, and it was lovely colours, and I've got to say I was hooked. And then my next one, which also happens to be here, was this one, Gathering Berries. So once I'd done them, I just became hooked, and I was sat at home doing nothing. I was still getting a salary, so I started to buy patterns, and then I found a place online where I could get DMC fairly cheaply for here in the UK. It's called Lakeside Needlecraft. It's like 69p per skein of DMC. So I just went mad and bought all the things and became quite obsessed about it. Then took a hold of myself, calmed myself down, and just started buying stuff that I really, really loved, that really called for me. Started making the mistake of watching old WIP parades on YouTube, and making lists of all the things that I liked, and then buying the stuff that I really liked. So that's how I started getting into this, but of course none of my friends or family do any of this. I've also done a bit of knitting, but none of my immediate friends or family are into it. So my way of kind of being in a community, and this is by watching YouTube and looking at things on Instagram. So as the pandemic went on, as I said, I was on furlough, and then I got made redundant from my job. So it was a bit stressful. A slight understatement, but it was very stressful. Okay, let's come out and say it was very stressful. And then I started thinking, oh my god, I bought all these patterns and I should have, you know, all that money I should have kept to one side. But then it was like, well, and that's when I found out how great a stress reliever cross stitches as well. It was just a way of calming my mind down. So then I fell in love with the hobby even more. I very luckily have parents who could give me a little bit of support to help me through this. Well, not a little bit, a lot of support to help me through this. And I also was able to find a new job. However, that's been very stressful as well. I'm going to be opening up a new office soon, so it's, you know, I'm running the office here in north of England, so that in itself has been very stressful. So throughout all of this, cross stitch and the knitting I've been doing has really been my saving grace to keep me calm and centered and just get me through all of this. So hopefully in the next month or so things will start to calm down a bit. Be very busy, but I'll be a little less stressed. But I now have this new hobby that I absolutely adore that will help keep me centered. So I know I've rambled a lot a bit there and gone off on a few tangents, but you will, unfortunately, that is part of who I am. I'm the tangent queen, as some people like to say. But just to cover off a few more of the questions I've got on here. Kids, no, I don't have any kids. Other crafts, jewellery making, knitting, cross stitch. Other hobbies, I absolutely love movies. I used to love going to the movies, but obviously I've not been able to do that for a while, so again, Netflix has been my saving grace. Amazon Prime, all those kind of things. I've been watching movies obsessively. Books. As with movies, I have a very eclectic taste. From the one genre I don't generally like is hardcore horror, but I love psychological horror, but science fiction, rom-coms, action movies, and the same with books. So I love Lee Child, but I also love people like David Eddings. Favourite author of all times is Terry Pratchett. I have everything he's ever done, collected figurines and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, so a bit all over the shop, to be perfectly honest with you, with my likes and dislikes. But now for what, you know, back onto what we're actually here for, which is cross stitch. So my WIPs. Yeah, we've got nearly 13 minutes in here, and or maybe a bit less than that, and I've not yet got on to my actual WIP, so I do apologise for that. If I do have anybody that actually watches this and anybody who's interested in any other videos, well, I can promise you that now that this bit of introduction is out of the way, I will generally get straight onto the cross stitch. But without further ado, let's get started. So I have a bit of a wide taste when it comes to cross stitch. I do have a full coverage, but I also have a lot of non-full coverage. I've kind of made one rule to myself, which is to just have one big full coverage one on the go at a time. And because I like finishes, I do like the process of cross stitch, but I do also like finishing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert here pictures of ones that I've FFO'd, fully finished objects. There may be just a simple FFO of just putting it on backing board, or it's ones that are put in frames and either I've kept or I've given one to my parents that I did. Tapestry Bloom by Cricket Collection I gave to my parents, and I've also I've kept some here myself. I've got a wall in my dining room which I intend to fill with all my cross stitch stuff. But yeah, one of the upsides of living by myself is that I can do what I want with all my cross stitch. So if I want a house that's absolutely covered in the stuff, I will have a house that is covered in the stuff. But sorry, back to what I was saying. I'll insert a picture here. So yeah, so that's all the things that I have completely finished. but my rule is really that I want to just have one head on the go. So it's a Heaven and Earth design that I bought. I came into cross stitch around a time when they were having a sale, so I bought 2 then, and then the most recent sale I bought another one. But the one I have bought, this is in a homemade bag that I made following the Vaughan tutorial. It is, let me get the picture out, it's called Flutter by Marjorie Sarnett. Now the reason I got this is about 2 years ago, in a place in Manchester city centre, there's a place called Affleck's Palace. So it's a shop, it's like a building that's got all little shops in it, little stands and stalls, it's all artisan things. Well, there was a shop that sold little artworks, and they happened to have a whole bunch of cards by this artist that I just loved. I just loved the colour, and I am slightly obsessed by cats. Although I will say, slight tangent, I love all animals. I actually grew up with dogs in the family, so I was a dog person. Never had any cats, never had any plans on getting any cats. And then while I was at university, the boyfriend I had at the time, for Valentine's Day, he was supposed to be getting me a gold necklace, came back with a kitten. And I wouldn't have minded, but it was me that paid for everything going forward for that cat. But I will fully admit that after about half an hour of having that cat, I was completely in love. And from then on I was a cat person, to the point that 6 weeks later I got her half sister and had 2 cats. So I went from having no cats to 2 cats within the space of 6 weeks. So yeah, so now I am cat obsessed, but still want a dog at some point, so you know. But anyway, as I was saying, so I bought a number of these cards, and so when I saw this at Heaven and Earth Design, I was like, well, this is a sign I have to buy a full coverage piece. So I have this, and then I have another one in my stash. The third Heaven and Earth, or Haid, I bought, excuse me, is not actually from this artist. It's actually something that I blame Michelle Bendy Stitchy for, because it's she calls it Josephine, but it's Contessa with squid. Can't remember the artist, but I'm not going into the stash right now. But that's my other hay that I've got. But back to this. So let me just bring that up for you again. See that? Beautiful, isn't it? I know it's probably not to everybody's taste, but I just love it. So what I've done so far is this. So it took me a while to find a method I enjoyed. I watched a tutorial that was done by Teresa Little Stitcher, which was incredibly helpful, but then I had to decide whether or not I wanted to do cross-country or parking. So I've tried both on this and ultimately decided that I enjoy doing cross-country. I pick a colour and complete a strand or so on that colour. I am generally, however, sticking to the area that's within this Q-snap. But no, so that's my progression so far. There is going to be a lot of 310 going on it, but when I completed this ear, it was like, yay! I felt a sense of accomplishment there, and I think it's slowly starting to reveal itself. I mean, it's going to be quite a big piece, but it's not the max colour one, it's the standard one, but I'm doing this on 25 count. I think it's easy count, or but it's 25 count anyway, and so it is going to be quite a big boy, but I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I'm doing it 1 over 2, so 1 strand over, sorry, over 1 I should say for this, so 1 strand over 1 1 bit of weave, and yeah, absolutely loving that. The amount of colours though, let me show you the, so This just blows my mind every time I see it. Sorry for all the crinkling there. These are all the colours. I mean, gorgeous. I have them organised in number. This is how I basically found it easiest to organise all my DMC, but there's just tons of them. See what I mean about I bought all this stuff and then when I lost my job I kind of like panicked and thought of all the money that I'd spent on this. But I'd already, you know, there's not much I could do after I'd kind of like unpack them all and cut them all up really. So that's WIP number 1. So number 2, I got a long dog. So it's Pilgrim by Long Dog, which I know a lot of people are doing. And let me just show you. There you go. Is that going to focus? I think you get the idea anyway. So there's Pilgrim. Ah, there you go. So it's really funny actually, because I was watching a video by Craftie Emily yesterday, and she's doing this, and we're practically at the same spot. So when I was looking at it I was like, oh my god, that's exactly where I am as well. I'm doing it in Mrs. Sadah's silk called Peacock. It's not really showing it very well. It's a much more vibrant colour than that, and it's not as blue as it's showing on there. But if you go on her website, you can see what it's like. But that's Peacock, and I bought 2 hanks because I overestimated how much I would need, but I'm actually using the other hank on another piece that I'll show you shortly. But for this, I am just show you this. Let me come back a bit. There you go. Absolutely. There you go. Hello. Absolutely loving this. I mean, loving it. This is it is so lovely to stitch, from the silk to the pattern to everything, and it can be mindless stitching. You're just counting it out, and I just love it. I love that raven. I love, just love it. So that is the full width of it. I've done, you know, I've reached the ends because I wanted to make sure, you know, the age-old thing of, oh my god, have I left myself enough room here? And I have, and I'm just loving it, loving it. Once I get started on it, I don't want to put it away, which I think is the sign of a really good pattern. So when I finish this one, I am going to purchase another long dog. So that's another thing I've said to myself. I'm only going to have 1 Haid on the go and 1 long dog on the go. So this is on 28 count. It's cream Zweigart. I've not really got many fancy pieces of fabric because, you know, after the lockdown, you know, I've not got a stash of it, and during the lockdown it's been very difficult to get stuff, and also I didn't want to spend a ton on fabric at that time. I mean, I may now start to do that now that I'm in secure employment. I'm thinking of joining some fabric clubs and looking on more and more sites to, to get some nice colours. But what you will find is that a lot of the fabrics I use now are all stuff that I bought, Zweigart fabric that I bought on Amazon. So where I know which ones they are, I'll tell you. Because when I first started this, I didn't know I was going to be doing this, so I've never really made a note of all of them. I'm going to going forward now, but yeah, so they're all mainly plain fabrics or something where I've attempted a dye job myself, which is not actually that good, but you know, I tried. So there's my long dog. So let me just quickly pop this away. All of my things are just in these plastic containers, and they're in these gorgeous tote bags from good old Tesco's. So it won't be a second. Just pop this away, otherwise it's going to be an absolute mess in here, and I'll have cats walking all over my things. Okay, next is Halloween Quaker. This is another golden oldie that I know a lot of people are doing at the moment. This is on a 28 count linen. There we go, so that's by Lila Studio. I love this. When I finish this, I am seriously considering getting the Christmas one. But this is one thing you'll see about the things I'm working on, is I'm not really a Christmas stitcher. I don't know if it's because, you know, I've got kids or anything like that, so I'm not really a huge, oh god, a hair sticking up there, I'm not really a huge Christmas stitcher. But I'm a massive Halloween stitcher. October and all of that, that's my season basically. I know there are some people who have worked for me who will have their own thoughts as to why I do like Halloween, as in which, but that to one side, I just love the Halloween side of things. So this is Halloween Quaker, the first of my Halloween ones. Now this is, as I said, it's 28 Zweigart. It was pale cream, so it's the same as what I've used on the long dog. I basically used part of it on here, but I did do a dye job on here. So let me, I've forgotten to bring my boards down for this. So this is what I've done so far. Let me get the side right. So, oops, there we go. So yeah, again, I really like this. Now, I'm not sticking entirely to the actual called fors. I'm kind of like picking out colours I really like as well. I'm using a lot of DMC Etoile on it. So the moon is Etoile, the hat is Etoile, the cat at the bottom is Etoile. There are a couple of mistakes on here. I am a newbie. So you can see the hole under hap. The A is a stitch out, if I bring that in. So I may leave that as a customisation, or I may unpick that and the A and the double L there to get that right. I've not yet decided. I have been doing this as part of Michelle Bendy Stitches Stitch Along. She does some Zoom things, but I've not been able to do the last two. Hopefully I will be able to do the next one. But I'm really enjoying that one as well. I love the pattern. I think it's so creative. It takes forever to do all the individual motifs on it, but I'm loving that one as well. Okay, next. So this is Halloween Ouija. This is Tiny Modernist. Now the thing I love about this is that it's 3 colours, which makes it incredibly easy. I mean, again, another really easy stitch. So now this is on a Ada, and I think this is a 14 count Zweigart Ada in its Rushco, or is it Rustico? Rustico, sorry. I have done, I will remember to bring down foam board next time so this will be easier to, that is what I have done so far. Oop, there you go. So again, what I have done on here is I have used some Etoile, so the cat and the skull. I've subbed out 310 and the white that was on there and just used Blanc Etoile and 310 Etoile, and then just put a little bit of colour in this window up here. So this was my first Ada, and I really enjoy it. I've not got brilliant eyes for doing this, so I do need help. So I have a magnification lens, you know, one of those ones that's like it's a mag light basically. Plus I have really glamorous now, I have mag eyes as well for when I can't use my mag light. But I found that with 14 count Ada I don't need to use them, which is nice. So I could take this anywhere. This could be a good travel piece. Not that I've travelled much recently, but if I do, this would be a good piece to take with me. Next one, oh, one of my favourites, this. I have very quickly grown an attachment to a particular designer, and it's the Cricket collection, or cross-eyed Cricket. I've done 2 complete ones by them now. Tapestry, oh god, I can't remember the name of the other one, give me a second, mine's gone blank. It's this one, it's Master and the Macabre, so I've done that one. But you'll have seen that in the pictures that I inserted before. But Tapestry Bloom as well as cross-eyed Cricket. And this is the other one I'm doing at the moment. This is October. Absolutely love it. I saw this, Teresa Little Stitcher was doing this one. Come on, focus. Oh, why is it taking so long? There we go. Just absolutely love it. I think it's gorgeous. That cat, let's see, where is it? That cat is just, I love it. So there we go, so that's October. And here we go. Now, I am a huge fan of a toile, and if I can stick it in somewhere, I will stick it in somewhere. I do not care. So it's all over the shop on this one. There you go. So this again is on Swigart. This is raw, and it's 28 count. Look at that cat. Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely love it. So yeah, so obviously the cat is a toile, but also the purple in the bat is a toile. The ghost, the moon and the skull is a toile. There we go. Absolutely, absolutely love this. Mainly, I switched out of the silks to DMC, but the lettering I have used what's called for on it. It's I've got it here. Oh, I'll show you this. This is something I splashed out on as a birthday present to myself. It's a floss folder, pockets galore and floss plastic floss things there. This is by Ladybird on Etsy. Absolutely love this, but it's a colour in silk is what I was looking for. It's called Woods of Gold. Variegated, just absolutely lovely. So I figured since the letters are so prominent, I'd get the actual silk it asked for on that. I mean, it's not the cheapest of things, but it's lovely and it's amazing to stitch with. So that is October. I have actually ordered. My parents gave me a little bit of money, so off 123 Stitch. I've ordered, I think I might 1 or 2 other Cricket collection ones. I just love them. But I'll show you that if anybody does ever watch this video and you are interested in having, me doing another video, like and subscribe and all of that, and I can show you that when they do eventually come in as part of yeah, I can show you that when they do come in. Next one is I also really like Kathy Barrack. I have a couple of hers as well. This is a big one. This is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Sorry, just give me 1 second while I get a drink. Okay, so now this is something else that may become a recurring theme, is I say I have a slight addiction to Diet Coke. Now, I don't drink tea or coffee. I've never been able to stand the taste of them. Weirdest thing, I can't stand the smell of coffee. So if people ever say to me, oh, shall we meet up, and you know, say, oh, can we meet up at this coffee place or that coffee place, it's like, ugh, no, ugh. Can't stand the smell of it. So instead, I have a slight addiction to Diet Coke. However, if you were to ask my friends about me and Diet Coke, they would say I have a full-blown, needs an immediate intervention, needs to be carted off somewhere and treated addiction to Diet Coke. Cheers. Oh, by the way, it is Easter Sunday today. It is early on Easter Sunday. I'm in my little stitchy corner in my house. I do have a spare room upstairs that, like my office / crafty area, where I've got my sewing machine, which I have now started using, although I am going to at some point need to look at purchasing a new one, because as I said, it was an IKEA one, but many years ago, and I've been using it to, you know, serge all the edges of every one of my WIPs, my works in progress, and also some of these bags. I've made 2 of these and a little mini one, which I'll show you later, and I intend to make more of them. And it is, oh, if it lasts much longer, I'll be surprised. I'm amazed it's lasted this long, let's just put it that way. So eventually I will be buying a new one. But anyway, that's my crafty area upstairs, and I use it when I'm at work. But the problem is, so I set it up all lovely. I had a copper band on, I got a copper pipe that I put on the wall so I could hang things off, so I could hang all my floss off it and all of that kind of stuff, and got it looking all lovely. And then, because I was also using it to work, what happened is that I found I couldn't actually do my sewing as well up there, because, okay, yes, I'm going to go for tangents again, and I do apologise for this. We'll get back to WIPs in a second. This may be a long video, which may mean nobody wants to watch it, but get it out of the way now. Basically, many years ago, I took a tumble down my stairs. It may have been cat involved. One of them may have been trying to kill me at the time. Something that happens every now and then if I don't feed them quick enough, or I, you know, touch them the wrong way. You know, God forbid I accidentally stroke them when they didn't want to stroke them. But I have found over the years, every now and then, one of them, I think, on purpose, will come at me when I'm coming down the stairs. You know, run up the stairs, or suddenly decide they want to come down the stairs at the same time. And there have been a couple of near misses, but on this one occasion it was not a near miss, it was a full-on hit. So I ended up falling down the stairs. Luckily it was not face first, which could have been, it was, I slipped forward, slipped on my backside, and then hit my, well, basically on my coccyx down several stairs. Now, I am quite well cushioned, so it's not as bad as it could have been, but what basically happened is my coccyx took quite a, sorry, that's Ruby. My coccyx took quite a bit of damage, and over the years that's also translated to a little bit of arthritis in there. Now again, I was extraordinarily lucky because I didn't injure anything else other than massive bruising across my backside for the next 2 weeks, which was quite epic, I'll have you know. Whew, I could not sit down, I could maybe lie in one, like, awkward sit, oh, horrendous. Cat was nearly killed. But anyway, yeah, so I was extraordinarily lucky that I didn't do any damage to the rest of my back, sorry. But what it does mean is that when I'm sat down, I have to have one of those really attractive coccyx cushions, you know, the one that's got the, not a hemorrhoid cushion, not that bad, but one of those with the U cut out of the back of it so that it takes the pressure off the coccyx, but it still hurts when you're sat down for a long time, even with that cushion on. Unless you're sat in a seat that I call it like a bucket seat, that like you get in cars where it slopes down. So my sofa does that, my car does that. So that means I can sit there for longer periods of time and it not hurt. So I've had to move. That long story is basically to say that I had to move from my nice craft room upstairs that I'd got all ready to into my lounge, onto my sofa, and just mess this up with all my sewing stuff now. So I've had to rearrange my entire life around this now. Yeah, just another quick story of what my cats like to do to me first thing in the morning on the steps. So one of my cats used to be a mouser. She'd bring in mice. And one morning she decided that as a nice surprise for me as I was rushing to get ready for work was to leave a mouse on one of the stairs. Now I'm hoping this mouse was already dead. I truly am. Because I came running down for work, barefooted. Do I need to say any more? Let's just say I was then phoning to my boss, telling them that I was going to be very late and I was probably going to be very traumatised when I did get into work. Anywho, yes, so my next piece, Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Love it. Another really big one. I'm not using all the colourful fancy floss on this because it would be far too expensive. So I've swapped out. So I'm doing the DMC conversion, but I am. What I do now is I'll look at some of the key elements on it, and I may get the fancy floss for that. So if I think something really does need a bit of variegation or would look really good, then I'll do it. But again, I am using some toile in some things like the cat and the flames and things like that. I've switched out. I've not done that much at the moment, and again I'm using Ada on this. This is 16 count Ada. I think it's oatmeal or something like that. And that's what I've done so far. I've done the cat, the pumpkin, and started one of the witches, and I've started what I've decided I'm going to do next on this is I'm going to carry on doing the boxes just to get them out of the way. So get the boring stuff done first, and then I can start on everything else. So there you go. That is what I've done so far. So that's Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Let's just quickly fold that up. So like I said, that's on 16 count. Have I got the... Yeah, it's needlepoint silk is the floss on here. So I think I've got the moon, the horse, grass and some of the trees, pumpkins and the coffin. So key elements in each of the squares. I bought just one skein each of the needlepoint. Okay, massive mess down there, but who cares. Next one, oh, another Cafe Parrot. Now this, After October and Long Dog. This is my next best one. This is Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain, and again I fully blame Michelle, Bendy Stitchy, for this one because she actually bought the model for this and it is stunning, and so I had to buy it. Now again, I've not bought all the, sorry, let me show you, there you go. I've not bought all the silks for it, but I have bought a few of them because I'm doing this on my first fury of my first try of 40 count. So this is, I can tell you now, this is 40 count Zweigart Country Mocha, and I'm loving it because this is one strand. Everything else has been two strand apart from my Haid, and I am absolutely loving it. Now I have to properly use magnification on this, but I think I may end up I was considering, should I restart my Halloween at Hollow on 40 count, and then I thought, no, actually I'm like that on there, so I'm going to keep that on the 16 count Ada. But this, yeah, you're going to marvel at the professional way I've just folded this, by the way. There we go, get that right. There we go. That's what I've done so far. Absolutely loving it. Love, love, love it. Yeah. So again, I am trying to work on the border just to get it out of the way again. I tend to put it in the Q-snap and just work on the area that's visible, but on this one I might break that rule and just get that border out of the way, and also so I can again make sure that I have measured it right. I do try to be very careful when I'm measuring, but you never know, do you? So there we go, so there's some of my needle points in there. I've kind of got a mix of DMC and gorgeous needlepoint silk for this. So that is another of my Kathy Barrett ones. Next we have the Blue Flower and Night Walk Down. There you go. Night walk down the sky with the moon in her hand. I think this is very pretty. Very, very pretty. So this is on 28 count platinum, which is actually my favourite one. I've not done that much. I've just, sorry, let me just fold this up a bit more. I've not done that much on here, but there you go. So that's on 28 count Zweigart platinum. So not very exciting at the minute. I've just literally top left start. This again is a mixture of a couple of Wheats Dye Works and DMC. Sorry, let me. If you hear my stomach growling, I do apologise. I've not had breakfast yet. I fed the cats, did the cat litter, which I'm telling you, with 5 cats is an adventure by itself. And then figured I'd get this out of the way while it was quiet and there was a bit of light, because it's a bit grey and overcast today, and it was a lovely beautiful day yesterday. So I'm a bit disappointed in that, but okay, so Carriage House samplings again. This is Curse of the Raven, and I'm using the call for flosses on here because it's only a few. This is a small, but I just love it. Ashes to Ashes, Dust to Dust, Curse of the Raven. I just really like that. So this is on 28 count. Most of my things are on 28 count, and I think this is raw, but I don't really think you can see this very well at the moment because I've literally just done the what colour is it? it's the taupe on the gravestone, just all this. Oop, there we go, just all the taupe on the gravestone. So there you go. So that should be a quick finish when I get back onto that, because I did all of that quite quickly. And there's all the weeks in there. Okay, next. What's this from? What's this from? I need to find where that's from. Oopsie. Okay, that's one down. One more to go. Don't worry, there's not about 5 more to go. Now, this next one is one I saw and just really loved. I think it's such a lovely pattern. It's ink circles. Get cracking. There you go. Come on, focus. There you go. I just think it's so funny and a really nice stitch. There you go. 28 count platinum again. I think this is just such a lovely neutral one that goes well with practically every colour. So I am, again, we've got a mixture of the called for flosses and just DMC, but there we go. So the tentacles are the called for variegated flosses, and the crowns are, but this I love, and that stitched up really quickly, and again I found myself not wanting to put it down. There you go. So that's get cracking. So what I find myself doing with my flosses, just in case anybody was ever interested in how I'm doing my flosses, is I've got some of these like smaller versions of these, and where there's a lot of flosses I'm just popping them in there on floss rings and floss drops, homemade ones. I've not bought them myself. I couldn't be bothered with that. I've got a lot of this silver and gold cardstock, so I literally just cut them out and put punch 2 holes in them and do it that way. Let's get cracking. Satsuma Street. If ever you need cheering up, just get yourself a Satsuma Street design. So this is Happy Nest. Now, for ages I was just thinking they'd spelt this wrong. Sometimes you miss the obvious. Obviously it's Happy Nest as in a bird nest, but there we go. I just love the bright colours on this. I think it's gorgeous. I've got a couple of Satsuma ones, but again I'm just doing the one at a time for her. There we go. So again I've got my flosses in here. Can you guess? 28 count platinum. And here we go. I will get used to where I need to position this, but there you have it. I think the colours just look lovely. Now I know my stitches may not be the best, but for me it's more about the process of it and just relaxing, enjoying myself, and I try to get them as neat as possible, but I'm not fanatical about it, and there is nothing wrong with that, trust me. I'm not saying that in any way, shape or form, but for me, I'm not in it for perfection. I'm just in it to relax, to calm my mind, to chill and enjoy myself. So my backs, I mean the back on this isn't isn't too bad. But if you were to look, do we know each other well enough for me to show you the backside of my Haid? I think I've told you a few stories, so yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, absolute mess. As I said, I'm carrying my threads all over the shop because I'm doing cross country, but I don't care. It's getting neater though, as I get a little bit better on that, and I found new ways. So I do pin stitch bow. Well, there's a method that I found on YouTube for doing a loop start when it's a single strand, because obviously it's very easy to do when you've got 2 strands. But I found a way of doing a loop start to both start and finish on a single strand. So since I found that, it's been a revelation. So it's meant it is going to be a lot neater going forward, but for what I've done so far, it's an absolute mess on the back of it, and I don't care. Do not care. For about 5 minutes I stopped and thought about it, and then was like, life's too short. I'm never going to enter these into competition. They're going on my wall. Nobody's going to see the back of them. So, well, obviously anybody who watches this video has now seen the back of that, but you know what I mean. But so yeah, I'm not, you know, worried about what the back looks like. Okay, so the next one came from watching Steel City Stitches, whom I love as well. Jodie, who dyes fabric, had done some blood splatter fabric, and they were using them on this design. So it's actually 3 I've bought. It's the little Stitcher, and the one I will just cook because we'll be here for ages otherwise, and we've already been here for a while. The one I'm doing is Legends for Halloween, the Banshee Cry. So that's the one I'm currently working on, but I have 2 others. Now this, I got a little bit adventurous and tea dyed my platinum to give it a bit of a grungy look, and there we go. Now can you guess what I did with the dress? Yes, a toile. So really like that. That stitched up so quick, so this could be a very quick finish. I think next time I pick this up it'll be a finish, and I'll tell you, I mean, there's not that many more to go now, so I'll tell you what my plans are for the rest of this month and how I'm going to rotate these in a minute, but I really like that. And I've done the same with the other 2, platinum, and I basically did it all in one batch. Tea dyed the material so I can have them as like a triptych, and put them together. So there's that. Okay, my next really big one. There's another ink circles, and I have been eyeing this one up for ages, but just never pulled the trigger on it until, like I said, my parents gave me a little bit of money. So this is one of the patterns I bought. Ink circles, the big red ship of life. Love it. Like my long dog. I just absolutely love it. So for this one, I've made a decision that I'm going to do the border in one type of red, shade of red, and the body of it, I've ordered some silk from Silks for You that's shipping its way over to me. Lovely owner of Silks for You, I contacted to ask which one would be closest to. It's DMC 115, the reddest part of this. So she had a silk that was a very close match to it. So that's, I'm afraid I can't remember. Oh, no, I can't remember the name of it. I was going to say I'll check, but I'm recording on my phone, so I can't check at the moment. I will put a little caption in now on the bottom to say what it is. if I remember to do that. But here we go. So this is a massive piece of fabric, and this is what I have done so far. I'm working on that border. Oh, there goes my stomach. I really do apologise for that. So there we go. So until that silk comes, I'm just going to carry on working on this top border, doing it all the way across, and then I'll start on the main body of it. But I am loving that. This is another one of these really easy stitches where you can just listen to a podcast or watch some FlossTube or something on telly. Podcast is another thing that I got really into over the past year. Never really used to listen to them. So ones like My Favourite Murder, absolutely love, and The Dollop. These are two that I obsessively listen to. They're funny, very funny. So one's true crime and one's an American history podcast, and both with, you know, just, well, the subjects aren't often, the subjects that they cover are often very heavy, so it's often good to break it up with brief moments of levity, you know, just to make it a little bit more palatable. But I just love listening to the two of them, that and audiobooks. So yeah, so that's that. Next is another Lindy Stitches. This is Mary Needlecraft Worker. Oh my god, sorry, there we go. Just grab a drink, won't be a sec. Bottoms up. So, you'll have noticed there is a massive block of colour in the middle there. Whew, that takes a lot of, because I have gone for, again, another mix of fancy flosses, or over-dye flosses, whatever you want to call them, and DMC on this. But because I think it's such a big feature of it, I did decide to splash out and get the flosses required for the apron or dress or whatever. So it's Seafoam. Ooh, there you go. Seafoam. You can't really see it that well. Come on, focus. Because there we go. But I decided, what the hell. And I'm doing this on a pink Zweigart, 28 count. Oh, is this? No, this might actually be 32 count actually. This may actually be 32 count. And that is what I have done so far. So I started on that, on the main element of it, but I'm just working my way down. This border is lovely. A nice easy stitch, which I somehow still managed to screw up. Got the colours wrong on the little buds, as in I wasn't concentrating, and there's two separate elements to them and I just mixed them up. But I think it still looks lovely, you can't tell, and I'm certainly not frogging them out there, so yeah. So there's that one. What I tend to do is, on all of the things I've done, there's always maybe been, well, on most of the pieces I've done, there's always been something that I've done wrong. And I'll look at it, and if it's something, and I know that a lot of people that I've listened to on FlossTube have said something similar, if it's something that bothers them, every time they look at it, if their eyes are immediately drawn to it and like, oh god, then rip it out, start again. But if it's something that it's like, it's a nothing, you just leave it in there. If your eyes aren't immediately drawn to it, if it's not something that's noticeable, then just leave it in there. So on Halloween Quaker, how I mentioned that there was a misstitch in the A in Halloween, my eyes are immediately drawn to it. Other people may say that they don't notice it, so next time I come to that, I'm pretty certain I am. You know, it's only the it's only the A, LL that I would need to, part of the A and the two L's, because it's all on one strand, that I would need to rip out, and I'm prepared to do that because I do notice it. So that's coming out. But on this, and literally the buds are in a light pink and a darker pink, and there's a specific pattern that she does for them, and I actually just mix them up on one and whatever. It still looks lovely. It's a lovely design, so you know the colours still go well. Now there's only two more after this, don't worry, we're nearly there. This one I'm struggling with. Not because of the pattern. The pattern is amazing, and it's another one of these that I've been looking at for ages and I really wanted to get. And it's actually one of the ones that I'm using up the other hank of Mrs. Seda Peacock on. It's All Souls Verlanden. It's not the band one, it's the more square one. I love it. Now, what I wanted to do was to do it on a really deep purple. Now, I had a piece of Murano, or however you say it, and I thought, oh, I'll dye that because I've got some RIP dye, a really nice deep purple. I'll dye it and do it on there. So I dyed it, but the colour, because obviously the colour takes differently, whether it's linen, Ada or some of the other, and it didn't, even though I like steeped it in there for ages and redid it, it didn't dye it as well as I wanted it to, or as deep as I wanted to. So I thought to myself, well, I'll do it and see what it looks like. So I have, so maybe if there is anyone watching this, if you can chime in and let me know what you think of this. I think it would look better on something a lot deeper. I'm not adverse to restarting this. I know it's still quite a bit that's been done, and that is quite a bit of silk in there, but I'm really struggling. Oh, sorry, my cat has just dive bombed me. I'm really struggling on this. Let me just bring it up closer. That fabric colour is actually pretty true to life there. I'm not sure. I think I might end up looking for some other fabric choices, but if there is anybody watching and interested in commenting, if you can just let me know what you think, or if you have any colour suggestions. As I said, what I will do, if I've not already done it, is I'll pop in a copy of the actual silk, and so you can hopefully see a more true to life version of it. But I really do want to use this silk because I love it, absolutely love it, and I think it will look really good. I'm just not happy with this. And the other thing is obviously, I think this started as a 32. That's not the obvious thing, but when you dye fabrics, and because as well I tried to re-dye it, it shrunk. So now the holes, yeah, I think I'm going to restart this, but I just need to choose a fabric, and that is where I break down, because I'm not very colour savvy for things like this. I can appreciate colours that other people do, and when I look at some people like Julie, Kansas girl, and Kansas City girl, Colorado world, I think that's the right way around. She's always so bold with her choice of fabric, and I am incredibly jealous of that. as you can see from most of my things, I've gone for safety and gone for either platinum or raw or country mocha, and I think they look really, really good. I mean, that Halloween Quaker one worked out really, really well, and I'd hope that this would go dark and a darker colour and mottled like that one, but obviously it worked differently on this fabric. But I've kind of convinced myself as I'm talking to you now that I am going to restart this. But if anyone has any good ideas of what colour fabric to do, if you can please let me know. 2 more left. Drawn thread, trick or treat. I've got a couple of drawn thread in my stash, but this one I really like, and it is a really easy stitch. There you go. I've only just recently started this one actually. Got my threads in a little mini one that I made too small. I'll know next time. But there's all my threads. These are just some weeks, these, because there weren't that many colours. I just thought, you know, sod it, I'll just get the weeks dye works. So they do actually fit nicely in the little holder. Again, that's based on the Vorna method. And this one I have done, started work on the letters and did the little ghost in the centre. So I've got the cat by the side of me here, so there we go. So the ghost is by the Tifa Treat. And I mean, that's Cole from Weeks Dye Works there. And again, 28 count, and this is raw Zweigart. There we go. So last live WIP. Oh no, sorry, no, that was my last WIP. This is actually moving on to the next thing. So there are all my WIPs. What I will do at the end of this video is I will put up I will put something up which will list all of these WIPs, so if you're interested in any, it'll say the name and the designer. I've not got my fabric on there because I need to go through and work out what I used on everything. On some I will be able to and some I won't, but I'll put that up there just in case anybody's interested in it. But yeah, so they're all my WIPs. I hope you enjoyed that. What I plan to do, if there is any interest in me doing another video, is I will track my progression. So I will take pictures of these, of where they're up to now, and then in my next one, obviously I won't go through every single one again, it will be just the ones I've worked on. So how am I going to be working on them? All of these live WIPs I am putting in a tiny, you know, the Tiny Decision app. So I've got them on a wheel and I'll just pick them that way. And I have split them out into 3 sizes. I kind of got this idea from Erin of Martini Stitches. She sized hers and I'm going to do it large, medium, small. So you take your stitch count, so say it's 100 by 100, add it together, divide it by 2, and anything 100 or less is a small, 200 and less is a medium, above that is a large, and I'm setting it that I do 3 days work on a large, 2 days work on a medium, 1 day's work on a small. Now that may change, I'm not sure yet, but at the moment that's what I'm setting it at. So they're all on the Tiny Decision wheel. Whichever one comes up I will do, and based on their size that is how many days I will work on it. So that's my plan for these. I don't plan to start any new ones other than 2 exceptions. What I'm going in April, that is, so in April I'm not going to start any other new ones. But now I'm going to insert a picture of what I bought because I forgot to bring my iPad down. so that I could show you straight away. Sorry, excuse me 1 second. There we go. I have bought from Carolyn Manning. It's one of her shooting star collection, and it's amethyst, and it basically contains some of my favourite things. So I have, what I'll do is I'll insert a picture of the actual pattern, plus I'll insert a picture of the fabric that I'm going to be using. It's an Ada that I bought from Wool Warehouse, so I'll insert that now. Okay, so the reason I love this is all DMC, but it's these colours. All purples and lavenders. Absolutely love it. The material, you know, deep purples, all, oh, absolutely love it. Cannot wait to start on this. It's killing me that I'm having to wait for the material. It should hopefully be here in the next few days, but everything's been delayed because obviously it's the Easter weekend, so there was no post Friday, and there's going to be no post Sunday today, so no post today, and there's going to be no post tomorrow. This Easter Monday. But as soon as this comes, I'm going to start on it. Just love it. And it's actually Darling Bluebell who you can blame on this one, because a while ago she bought one in another colourway, in the blue, or I think she's either converted it to blue, because her favourite colour is blue, or there is actually one that is already in the blue colourway, but this, I saw it and I was like, oh, I've got to buy that. I love those colours. And I get the bulk of my threads, and I'm probably going to start buying some fabric, some of the coloured fabric from them as well. Lakeside Needleworks. I think it's Needleworks. If I've got the name wrong, I'll put a correction at the bottom now, but they're so good. You order it and within a few days it arrives. And Patchwork Rabbit I also use as well. They're very, very quick. So they're UK based obviously, but they're just so quick for getting threads and very reasonably priced in comparison to everybody else. So but that, when that turns up, can't wait. And the other exception is one I'm doing for my mum. Again, I will insert a picture of the pattern. It's a drawn thread one again, and it's Garden Gate. So I'll insert a picture now. Okay, so that's a kind of thank you to her and my dad for all the help they've given me over the last couple of months. So when that arrives from 123 Stitch, that's one I bought from there, I'll get started on that as soon as it comes. And this is another one that I have actually bought the fancy floss for, because I think it will make a difference. Not that there's anything wrong with DMC. I've got an absolute, well, you can't see actually, let's see, can I just quickly, I've got my rack of all DMC thread here. Nothing wrong with it, but on this, and because it's for my parents, I just wanted to get some nice floss for them and use it on it. So so that's what I plan to do in April. So to use the tiny decision wheel to just add those other two onto my WIP list and just work through them. Anyway, I'm going to end this now because this is very long. I never intended it to be this long, but I have waffled on a little bit. It may be that nobody watches this. It may be that 5 people watch this or 10 people watch this. If that's the case, so be it. I've tried it. It's something I said to myself, come on, do it. It may be that more people watch it, and because of that, I make some new friendships, or you know, enter in some conversations with people who share what is rapidly for me becoming a passion, because I'm hooked. Not quite as much as Diet Coke yet. This has been many, many, many years in the making, to the point where I can now, consider myself a connoisseur of Diet Coke. My friends think I'm insane, but you know, I am a connoisseur of it now. If anybody ever wants to bribe me, they know all they need to do is to get me a Diet Coke. That's how bad it is, but I can see cross stitch getting up there. But there we go. I hope you have, anybody who has watched that and who's watched it to the end, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, as usual, please like and subscribe, and any comments you've got, more than welcome. You know, I love comments, I'd love to enter communication with people. I'm on Instagram as well as Craftie Stitches. But anyway, yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching and all my love, and I hope you're all safe and well. Bye.